Welcome. Today we are devoting ourselves to the topic of vitamin D, a vital hormone whose deficiency is widespread worldwide. Some experts even consider vitamin D status as a biomarker for chronic disease and overall health. Below, we will explain in detail the importance of vitamin D and the risks of deficiency. Vitamin D, a prohormone that plays a variety of roles in our body, is important for both its traditional and lesser-known functions. It is well known that vitamin D plays a central role in bone metabolism by promoting the deposition of calcium in the bones. This helps strengthen the bone structure and helps maintain the health and integrity of our bones. The importance of vitamin D was first recognized in the 1920s when scientists discovered that it could correct a severe deficiency condition that leads to soft bones, a condition known as osteomalacia. This was a significant breakthrough in our understanding of the role of vitamin D in human health. Over the past decade, our understanding of the diverse roles of vitamin D has expanded significantly. Aside from its classic function in bone metabolism, vitamin D has an essential role in our immune system by regulating inflammatory reactions and being involved in neurogenesis, the formation of new neurons and neuronal connections. These functions are crucial for learning processes and regeneration after traumatic brain injuries. In addition, vitamin D has a significant impact on cell proliferation, maturation and differentiation, contributing to the formation of various cell types including bone, heart, liver and brain cells. It contributes to the genetic stability of DNA and thus promotes tissue health. However, a deficiency in vitamin D can cause problems associated with uncontrolled cell proliferation, lack of cell differentiation and genomic instability, all signs of cancer. Autoimmune diseases and neurodegenerative diseases can also be influenced by vitamin D. The importance of vitamin D for our health can hardly be overestimated. It is involved in almost all body functions. Officially, a vitamin D level of less than 20 nanograms per milliliter is classified as a deficiency. Depending on the geographical region, an impressive 42 to 97% of the global population is affected by this deficiency. Even in countries that fortify foods with vitamin D, the rate of those affected is an alarming 40%. Some experts are of the opinion that a vitamin D level of 12.5 nanograms per milliliter is sufficient to ensure adequate bone mineralization. However, this perspective focuses heavily on the traditional role of vitamin D in bone metabolism and neglects the multitude of other essential functions that vitamin D fulfills in our bodies. The question is, which mirror is really optimal? The traditional idea is that we spend time in the sun, and the UV radiation stimulates vitamin D production in our skin. But today, most experts agree that skin production alone is no longer enough. Factors such as air pollution, clothing, spending most of your time indoors, skin pigmentation, geographical location, time of day and year, and age influence vitamin D production. Conditions such as insulin resistance, which affects 80% of the population to some degree, can also affect vitamin D production. For most people, the only option is to consume vitamin D through food and dietary supplements. However, there are few natural sources of vitamin D in food, mainly some animal products. Cod liver oil and pâtés as well as UV-irradiated mushrooms are particularly rich in vitamin D. Other animal products such as butter, cream, meat and eggs only contain small amounts. Therefore, for most people, dietary supplements are the most practical way to achieve sufficient daily vitamin D intake. The absorption of vitamin D, whether as food or dietary supplements, however, require functioning digestion. Since vitamin D is fat-soluble, fats are also necessary for absorption. If you have a very low-fat diet or insufficient bile acid production, vitamin D cannot be broken down and utilized properly. It has even been proven that taking a supplement with the main meal increases absorption by 50%. Even if vitamin D enters the bloodstream, it is still not effective if it is not transported. This is where vitamin D binding protein, VDBP, comes into play. If this protein is too low, there is less bioavailable vitamin D because it is always bound to VDEP and never circulates freely in the blood. Therefore, you not only need enough vitamin D, but also enough VDBP. Low levels have been linked to an increased risk of cancer. In a group that took just 1,100 international units per day, the risk of cancer was reduced by 60 to 77%. But even VDBP alone is not enough. It can only transport vitamin D. It is a complex interplay of factors that ensures an optimal supply of vitamin D. In order to get vitamin D into the cell, vitamin D receptors, VDR, on the cell surface are necessary. The vitamin D binding protein, VDBP, transports vitamin D from the blood or skin to the target cell. Vitamin D can only develop its biological effect if these VDR receptors are functioning. They are found on all cells in the body but are particularly pronounced in kidney, immune, and bone cells, as well as in certain areas of the nervous system such as the substantia nigra, which is relevant to dopamine production and the risk of Parkinson's disease, and the hypothalamus, which produces hormones, hunger, thirst, and temperature regulated. If these areas are not adequately supplied with vitamin D, neuropsychiatric effects such as schizophrenia, depression, neurocognitive disorders such as Parkinson's and dementia, as well as hormonal disorders and even diabetes can occur. When vitamin D levels are low, less insulin is released, which affects blood sugar regulation. However, the main cause of type 2 diabetes is insulin resistance. Adequate vitamin D levels can reduce insulin resistance while deficiency increases it. When vitamin D is low, immune regulation is also weakened, which impairs the defense against the autoimmune disease type 1 diabetes. Vitamin D alone is often not enough because most nutrients and enzymes work together with cofactors. A healthy, nutrient-rich diet with unprocessed foods is the most important factor. Second is exercise, which optimizes the function of all cells. Adequate vitamin D intake, whether from the sun or supplements, is the third important factor. Magnesium, the most important cofactor for vitamin D, takes fourth place, followed by omega-3 fatty acids, zinc, boron, and vitamin K2. The amount of vitamin D required is very individual. The basic recommendation is 600 international units daily from 60 years old, 800 international units. The official guidelines set 2,000 international units as the upper limit. But for many this is not enough. Most people in the treatment center receive 5,000 international units. Some require 10,000 international units temporarily, but this could become toxic in the long run. Therefore, it is important to measure vitamin D levels in the blood to find the right dose. A value below 20 nanograms per milliliter, which also corresponds to 50 nanomoles per liter, is considered a deficiency, the red zone. The orange zone of inadequacy is 30 to 50 nanograms per milliliter, or 75 to 125 nanomoles per liter. An optimal value is between 50 and 80 nanograms per milliliter, which also corresponds to 125 to 200 nanomoles per liter. Some experts even aim for the upper range. However, from 100 nanograms per milliliter, which corresponds to 250 nanomoles per liter, the dose should be reduced. Above 150 nanograms per milliliter, that is 375 nanomoles per liter, there is vitamin D toxicity. Vitamin D is too important to ignore. It is necessary to know the blood values and not simply take 2,000 or 5,000 international units. Based on the measured values, you should supplement accordingly and check every 2 to 3 months until a stable value settles into the optimal range. After that, checks every 6 to 12 months are sufficient. That's it for today's episode. We hope you enjoyed it. If yes, please subscribe to our channel and activate the bell to stay informed. As always, we wish everyone a long, healthy, and happy life. See you next time.